thank you for coming. We'll be talking about Neuroplasticity 101. We'll be talking about the latest research in neuroplasticity and how we combine that with NASA-inspired body wave technology in order to improve executive function and self-regulation. Now, usually this is where we talk about our agenda, but really, I want you to think about your agenda because all of you are here for a particular reason, right? You're here because you want to improve skills. Perhaps you're looking at play attention for yourself and you want to improve your personal skills so that you're more productive at your job. Or maybe your goal is to improve your social relationships or your emotion regulation. Maybe you have a child and your child is sweet and smart and creative, and yet he struggles at school because of weak executive function. Or maybe you're a professional and you have several clients who are struggling to reach their full potential, and you want a tool that can help them develop those core cognitive skills that they need in order to be successful. So probably all of you have some type of agenda like that. You're here to look into a program that can help yourself or your child or your clients, your grandchildren, maybe all of the above. My agenda is to help teach you how play attention can help you reach your goals. I want to start though, since our topic is neuroplasticity, I want to start with a quote from Santiago Cajal. He was the father of neuroscience. He was studying this field in the late 1890s. So he was really considered the father of neuroscience. And in the late 1800s, he was actually researching the brain, and he knew the power of the brain, that the brain could develop new skills in response to a challenge. His work actually earned him the Nobel Prize. His work also is the foundation of what we now know as neuroplasticity. What neuroplasticity has taught us is that the brain is moldable, it's shapeable. And if we provide you with the right learning tool and the right challenge, you can develop these skills. You can develop new neural pathways despite your current wiring. So just as Kajal said, you can be the sculptor of your own brain. We know that. We know that the brain is moldable. It's shapeable. And if we provide you with the right challenge, you can develop skills. We now know that age is not a factor. It used to be thought that after about the age of 9, your brain didn't change very much. And now we know through neuroplasticity that that is not true, that the brain will continue to develop new pathways throughout its lifetime. And that's really important for many of you here today to keep in mind, because I talk to so many people every day. And they'll say, well, I'd really like to improve these areas, but, I'm in my 50s or I'm in my 60s. And so it's too late for me, but I'd like to look at it for my child or my grandchild. And then I have some parents who will even say, well, he's a teenager, though. That's probably too old. It is never too late to develop these skills. So keep that in mind. Play attention can be used successfully, whether you're 6 years old or 106 years old. The brain can continue to grow and change and make new connections throughout your lifetime. We also know that labels like ADHD or autism, post-traumatic stress syndrome, traumatic brain injury, those types of labels are not a factor. Again, if we provide you with the right tools and the right challenge, you can develop these new skills. And I think that in addition to the age factor, this is another factor that is so important to keep in mind. I was talking to a mother and her teenage daughter just a few days ago, and the mother said that she's the daughter had embraced her ADHD, but not in a positive way, more in a negative way, in that everything they asked her to do, whether it was to do her homework or to, just follow in multiple step instructions, or to start studying for a test, her response was always, well, I would, but I'm ADHD, so I can't do that. And it's so important. And I was talking to that teenage girl that ADHD may be the label of, what's going on. However, ADHD does not define you. You are so much more than that, and you can develop skills to reach your goals. That ADHD is just a label, but it is not who you are, right? We have so much potential and the ability to learn and change and grow. And we know this through neuroplasticity. Nothing is hardwired, right? You used to hear that a lot, that, well, it's hardwired. It's not hardwired. We can change these things. And the way that the brain learns and learns new skills is that it lays new neural networks. You can think about this in a very simple way. If you think about building an addition onto your house, right? You're building a new room onto your house, and you want that room to have cable and electricity and phone. So you have someone come in and they lay down new wiring, and they wire everything in the new room to the things that are in the older part of your home, right? So everything is networked, everything is communicating together. And they do that by laying down new wiring. Your brain does the same thing. So if you think about your child learning new math skills, let's say, so that she can solve more complex, higher levels of mathematics, that's her addition on her house, right? Her addition, her new room, are these new math skills. And in order to learn those new skills, the brain starts to rewire. The brain starts laying down new networks to connect the old information, the old knowledge, with the new knowledge. That's how learning takes place, by creating these new neural pathways. So every time you learn, you're actually creating these new neural pathways and changing the architecture of your brain. Now, it's important to keep in mind that in the beginning parts of this process, those networks are weak, right? So there's going to be a little bit of up and down. If you're teaching your child new multiplication tables, they may know them beautifully one day, and then the next day, they don't remember them at all. And that's because those networks are new. But through the practice and repetition, and all of you have seen this in some way in your life, through practice and repetition, you're actually strengthening those networks to a point of permanency. And that's where the skills become ours. So what we've done within Play Attention is that we've taken what we know from neuroplasticity, that the brain is moldable, it's shapeable, and we've combined that with NASA-inspired body wave technology to create customized neurocognitive training programs to develop executive function and self-regulation. And we know that we can do this because we've been doing it for over 25 years. We were actually the pioneers in neurocognitive training. We developed the genre back in the 1990s. And when our founder of the company, Peter Freer, he was working with children and adults with attention difficulties or ADHD back in the 1980s. And he thought there has to be a way to help these individuals develop the skills that they need so that they can be successful. And so he started researching different attention training techniques. And he came across the work that NASA was doing with their pilots and astronauts in their simulator training. So what he found was that NASA was incorporating feedback-based technology with their simulator training. This means that they were monitoring the attentive state. They were monitoring the brain activity of their pilots and their astronauts while they were doing their simulator training. So practical skill combined with feedback technology. So if the pilot or the astronaut was very attentive, then all of their controls were automatic and they were able to do their job very easily. However, if they became distracted or stressed or anxious, then all of their controls became sluggish and their job became much harder. So in order to do their job well, in order to function at their peak state, they had to learn to maintain their peak attentive state in order to do their job. So the founder of our company, Peter Freer, thought that's brilliant. If I can integrate feedback technology and actually show my adults and my children their attentive state in real time and integrate that with cognitive skills and behavior shaping, then I can teach skills that they need in order to be successful. And that was the very foundation of Play Attention, knowing that change is possible and integrating that with NASA-inspired technology. So what makes us unique and effective is what we teach and how we teach it. And I'm going to walk you through that. So Play Attention is the only program available that integrates that NASA-inspired technology with cognitive skill training and behavior shaping to provide you with the most comprehensive approach available. I'm going to show it on this side. It's much easier to see. So this is our body wave technology. And if you look on the back, you'll see that there are 3 sensors. And those sensors monitor your brain activity that tells us how attentive you are. So you're actually going to place that body wave armband on your arm. And those sensors, again, listen carefully, those sensors monitor brain activity that tells us how attentive you are. Just like NASA was monitoring the brain activity of their pilots and astronauts, this is what our body wave technology is doing, monitoring your attentive state. And then we integrate that with cognitive skill training. So that information is actually given over to the computer where you're allowed to control all of the cognitive exercises just with your mind, or more specifically, your attentive state alone. And you receive constant and immediate feedback as to whether or not you truly are focused and paying attention. And that's a really critical part in the learning process, because right now you can look at your child or your clients or your students and say, I need you to pay attention. And they probably look right back at you and say, I am paying attention. And they really think that they are, but they just haven't developed what it takes for them personally to stay very focused to low stimuli activity for long periods of time. So what we're doing is we're taking that very abstract concept of attention and we're making it concrete and controllable. Now you actually see your attention in real time. You feel what you're doing, and you're allowed to practice very specific cognitive skills. And that is critical in this entire process for you to always know when you're paying attention and when you're not paying attention, and then practice the skills that you need. Just as the pilots and astronauts were using simulator training so that they could practice their job skill, we're going to work on specific cognitive skills that you need. But keep in mind that all of the cognitive exercises are brain enabled, meaning you have to be paying attention in order to work on each cognitive area. And that's important because you can have a great teacher or you can have a great counselor, but if you are unable to pay attention to that teacher or to that counselor, and you're not able to process what's being taught to you or process what's being said and hold that in memory, it's going to be very difficult to get maximum benefit. So if you are going to work on any of our exercises, whether you're working on being able to direct and sustain your attention for longer periods of time, or perhaps you're working on memory skills or auditory processing or social skills, If you want to work on any of those areas, you have to be paying attention, because remember, that body wave armband is always telling the computer if you're paying attention or if you're not paying attention. And if you're not paying attention, then the activity will stop or the character will go in the wrong direction, immediately alerting that you're no longer as attentive. And then you have to control that behavior or control that daydreaming, focus back in order to continue. So that's how you are going to really maximize your learning. We're only going to teach you these skills and allow you to practice if you are actually actively engaged and paying attention. Now, as we know, we've been talking about neuroplasticity, and I mentioned that play attention utilizes what we know within neuroplasticity. So one, we know that brain change can occur, right? That age is not a factor, that labels are not a factor. But brain change doesn't just happen, right? There are certain catalysts that are necessary in order to spark brain change. And we know that to be true. So play attention also incorporates 3 very specific catalysts that are necessary to spark brain change. Those include attention, challenge, and deliberate practice. Now, we already addressed the area of attention. You know that you cannot work on any of these activities unless you are paying attention. So we've incorporated that attention into the process. The next is challenge. And this is really important when we're talking about brain change, because if you are always successful, you're not going to learn anything, right? You have to be challenged. So when you put that body wave armband on, and we're looking at your ability to pay attention, that's where the bar is set for you. We have set the bar to your best ability to pay attention, and all the activities are based on that. If you're able to reach that level of attention, then you can activate the activity, because remember, all the activities are brain enabled. So you can activate the activity, whether you're on working memory or motor skills or hand-eye coordination, you activate the activity. And then if you are able to sustain that level of attention for a given number of seconds, in the background, we raise the bar just a little bit more. And that means you have to be that much more attentive in order to be successful. And that is because what I said earlier, if you are 100% successful, then you're not going to learn anything, right? So we always have to keep you challenged. Now, I know that some of you are thinking, well, my child's already frustrated. And what if that challenge just makes him more frustrated? And we've taken that into account, right? So our auto adjust algorithm will not only give you challenge, but let's say you're getting a little fatigued and you're not able to reach that same level of attention. Then our auto adjust algorithm brings you back down to your last level of success and then gradually builds you up. So we've built in this challenge. We always keep the play attention program at a challenging yet success-based pace, because that's how we maximize learning. That's how we ensure brain change. And finally, the third catalyst necessary for brain change is deliberate practice. And some of you may have looked at the research that's been done. Anders Ericsson did a lot of work in this area. And many times they look at professional athletes. They're a good example of how to use deliberate practice. And what they found were athletes typically, and this is all of us in general, we typically practice what we're really good at, right? That's what we gravitate towards. We practice what we're good at, what's easiest for us. But what they found were the pro athletes who were gold medalists, who were at the top of their game. They were the ones who were practicing the more challenging skills within their sport. So those individuals who excelled at sports were the ones who had mini goals. They had small goals set for themselves when they went into their practice. So they weren't just going in and going through motions. They had specific goals set, and they were practicing the more difficult skills. So deliberate practice is a critical component to brain change. And we incorporate that in a few different ways within play attention. And we'll be touching on that a little bit further. But in play attention, we actually set mini goals for you. Our artificial intelligence called sheer genius will actually begin setting mini goals for you. So let's say yesterday you worked on time on task and you were 70% attentive. Today, sheer genius will say, let's try 72%. And if you're able to do that, you'll earn a point. And so there are small achievable goals in order to keep you at a deliberate practice model. So the 3 catalysts necessary for brain change, attention, challenge, and deliberate practice, are all part of the Play Attention program. I wanted to share with you what this looks like, right? Because I've been talking about the different exercises and how it integrates with cognitive skill training. So this is one of our clients that you see on the screen. And you notice on his arm, he has that body wave armband, which is monitoring his brain activity. And the activity on his screen is called attention stamina. So this is one of our activities that everyone within the play attention family uses, because attention stamina, that ability to direct and sustain your attention at will, is critical to everything we do. You can choose from different characters, but you see there that he chose the submarine. Once he's focused and paying attention, he'll see that character at the top of the screen. And once he's paying attention, he's able to push that character down to the bottom of the ocean just with his mind alone, or more specifically, just with his attentive state alone. No hands required. Just his ability to focus and concentrate moves that character down to the bottom of the ocean. And then immediately he knows this is what it means to pay attention. And how empowering is that? If you've been told you can't pay attention or you never pay attention, I need you to pay attention. If you've heard that for the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, then within play attention, you're actually rewarded for paying attention. That's so empowering for us to show you that you can do this. And this is what it looks like. And through that immediate feedback, so as long as he has a very attentive state, he's at the bottom of the ocean. If he starts to get distracted, then it starts to float up. That feedback teaches him, now I have to control that daydreaming and focus back in, not think about what's for dinner or when's my next meeting, stay in the present moment in order to push it back down to the bottom of the ocean. By providing that immediate feedback, you're able to develop that self-regulation and self-monitoring you need to not only recognize when you're paying attention, but also recognize when you're not paying attention. And more importantly, when you do recognize you're not paying attention, know how to correct it because you've had that opportunity to practice it. So that is just one activity that is brain enabled within play attention. But there are many other cognitive skills that we address within play attention. And here are many of them listed for you. Now, you might not necessarily need all of these skills, but we will help pinpoint the different cognitive areas that are most important for your profile. So we will help set up everyone's customized plan so that we make certain we're addressing those skills that are most important for you. And remember, all of these exercises are powered by your ability to pay attention. They're all brain enabled and powered by your mind alone, developing all of the skills that you need in order to have strong executive function. Because many of you know here that the different areas of executive function include organization and mental flexibility and emotion regulation, all of these different processes. And in order for you to, let's say, help your child develop organization skills, well, then your child has to be able to pay attention to low stimuli, has to be able to start and complete in a timely manner, avoid procrastination, remember the instructions, process the information, control their impulsive nature to just get started without listening to all of the instructions. And all of those skills are what we're addressing in every single play attention session. So every time you do a play attention session, we're laying the foundation for strong executive function and self-regulation. So in all of your play attention sessions, you can work on the following skills: attention stamina. That's what we talked about earlier, your ability to direct and sustain your attention. Visual tracking. That's a great one if the teacher ever says, he does great when I stand right next to him, but as soon as I walk away, he's out the window and out the door. And then he has that diffused attention where he's paying attention to a little bit of everything. So we work on staying focused and visually tracking. Task completion, that's a huge one for both children and adults. That ability to start an assignment right away, keep your attention just on that one assignment until completion, that closed-end tasking. So we're actually going to develop the skill to finish a 15-minute homework assignment in 15 minutes instead of 2 or 3 hours. Short-term memory, of course, the ability to remember dates, names, facts, filtering distractions, both auditory and visual. We work on working memory. That's the ability to take in information, manipulate that information in some way, give a response. It helps with problem solving, higher levels of mathematical word problems, reasoning, reading comprehension. Working memory is utilized in almost everything you do on a day-to-day basis. Auditory processing, that's a great one if you have a child who has a hard time following through with multiple step verbal instructions. Hand-eye coordination helps with small motor control. Social skills, which we're going to be addressing a lot in our next webinar next week. Social skills, that ability to pick up on social cueing and respond appropriately. Motor skills helps with mind-body control. Spatial memory is remembering where things are located. Mindfulness is incorporated as well. We actually have a mindfulness program called Lotus to teach you how to stay in the present moment. And finally, of course, we work on impulse control as well throughout all of the activities. So these are all of the different programs that you can utilize within your play attention profile, addressing all of those foundational skills you need in order to be successful. You can even do schoolwork or real work activities from your office while you're connected to the play attention system. Because remember, that body wave armband does not know where your eyes are. It only knows how attentive you are. So you notice that this student here, she has that body wave armband on her arm, but she's not looking at the screen like you saw in the first activity. She's actually doing her writing assignment. As long as she's paying attention to her writing assignment, she hears from the computer, good, great. And then she knows she's in that state she needs to be in order to process her assignment and finish in a timely manner. Now, if she starts to drift and gets off task, the computer will say focus, and then she knows she has to focus back in order to be successful, in order to finish this assignment in a timely manner. So you can actually have your child do his or her homework while connected to the body wave system, or you as an adult can do some work activities while you're connected to the body wave system. I work with one adult and she's a day trader. So she uses the academic bridge while she's day trading so that she's only making her trades while she's at her peak attentive state. I have another adult that I work with who uses it while she's grading papers because she is a school teacher and has been having a difficult time sustaining her attention to grading papers. So we've actually worked through a lot of that. So at this point now, instead of spending 2 days grading papers because she was so easily distracted, she gets that done in about 2 hours. Huge difference. So the academic bridge is a great way to ensure transfer and generalization of the skills learned. Now, we talked about a lot about different cognitive skill areas. So you may be wondering, well, I'm not really sure which activities would apply to me. right? Which ones should I actually do? And so we do have a couple of assessments available if you're interested. We can offer the focus assessment, which is a norm reference test of attentional control. It is computer based. It takes 20 minutes in length. And we get different constructs of attention to review and set up your profile. We also have the brief available, which is a behavior rating of executive function. So if you feel like you need a little bit more information in order to pinpoint the different cognitive skills that should be addressed within your program or your child's program or your client's program, we can do that with you. Now, you may have already been through comprehensive assessments and just want to use that information, and we're happy to look at that information with you, or you can share some of that information with us, and that always helps us set up your profile. But like I said, if you are looking at all of those cognitive skills and you think, well, I don't know if I really need that area, or I'm not certain that my child is, deficit in that area. Maybe it's just how every child is. We can really pinpoint that through our assessment package. If you're interested in finding out more information about our assessment, just type in assessment and one of us will reach out to you to talk to you about the focus and to the brief and the brief, sorry. And we will be able to tell you about how the assessments work and also what the cost is. Now, I do have some people asking about the cost. Each assessment is typically $50, but with your webinar special, you can receive that assessment and follow-up for half price. So the assessment along with the follow-up, which means we will be reviewing the results with you and talking about how we can customize a plan. That will be $25. So if you want more information about that assessment or take advantage of that, just type in assessment and one of us will follow up with you. Now, once we assess your particular needs and really set up that customized profile, then we can start your play attention program. Now, remember, the importance of that customized program is that we are integrating what we know about neuroplasticity with specific cognitive skill training and NASA-inspired technology. So let me show you a little bit about what's involved in that process. So you will receive with your play attention program that body wave technology. So of course you need that technology in order to monitor your brain activity. You'll have your customized neurocognitive training program. So that's all of those different cognitive skills that we're going to incorporate into your plan. We have a full behavior shaping program. We didn't talk about that, but that's really important for those individuals who have a lot of self-distracting behaviors like fidgeting or nail biting, chewing on their shirts. If you have a child with self-distracting behaviors, this is such a powerful component because they actually get a one-to-one correlation on how certain behaviors affect their attention. And then we're going to use that to help them start learning how to control those behaviors not conducive to good attention. You're also assigned a personal executive function coach. So not only are you receiving the hardware and the software necessary for brain change, but you have guidance, unlimited support with your personal executive function coach. And that person is there to help you along every step of the way. That person will even provide you with a 90-minute phone tutorial where we take you through a practice session. So we can do it via phone, or typically we do it over Zoom, and we take you through a practice session just to make sure you're real comfortable with everything before you start working on your sessions officially. And once you start your sessions, you have a lifetime membership with us. So whether you're using the program for a year or you're a professional and you're using it with clients for 15 years, you have unlimited support and a lifetime membership. Now, some of you are asking if you can receive assessments outside the United States, and absolutely everything that I mentioned today is available outside of the United States. Okay. When you start, let me start from the top down. You're going to Chat with us or your executive function coach about your specific needs so that we can set up your specific profile for your neurocognitive training program. Okay. So that's where we pinpoint, what do you need to work on? Do you need task completion? Do you need social skills? Following through with multiple step instructions? What does your plan look like? Once we do that, we'll take you through that practice session to make sure you're real comfortable with everything. And that's whether you're a home client or a professional client. Then we have to talk about training, because just as we mentioned earlier, that brain change doesn't just occur. We have to have certain catalysts in place to spark brain change. It doesn't just happen overnight, right? It does take time and practice to develop those networks and to strengthen them so that you will have them not only now, but you'll have them 20 years from now, right? Because if we put in our time right now and our child is 9 years old, I want to know that not only will she have these skills now when she's 9, but she's going to have them when she's 49. And that takes consistent training. So you do want to work what we recommend at least an hour per week. And that hour could be broken up. It could be 2 30-minute sessions. It could be 4 15-minute sessions, whatever works best for you. But an hour is typically easy to schedule into your daily plan. Now, you do want to break up your sessions, like I mentioned, and you will typically see good results after about 6 weeks of consistent training. So you're going to notice that, you know what, you are more engaged. You are able to follow conversations much better. Maybe your child, you gave him 3 instructions and he actually followed through with those instructions without being redirected or reminded. Maybe your teenager driving skills are getting better. And perhaps when your child comes home from school, he's starting his homework the first time you ask instead of the 10th time you ask. And homework is not taking all night long. So you're going to start noticing these steps of improvement. But again, they're not permanent until we practice them. So permanency typically takes place around 40 hours of training. So if you're working that hour per week, I would plan on about 10 months of consistent training. And around that 10 months, we're going to look at your data, make certain you're at all the advanced skill options, make certain everything's transferred and generalized. That's a good time to do another assessment to make certain everything's transferred and generalized back into the classroom or the home or the workplace. If everything looks good, then we can start graduating from the program. If it looks like there's more work to be done, then we simply customize the plan and we keep working. So again, remember, you have that lifetime membership. So we work with you as long as necessary. And that also means that even once you graduate the program, if you want to continue using it as peak performance training, you can do that. Your use is always there and your support is unlimited. So let's talk about some of the key features just really quickly. We've touched on a few of them, and I mentioned earlier sheer genius, our artificial intelligence. So once we set up your profile and we take you through that practice session, you don't have to be overwhelmed because sheer genius makes a lot of the plan for you. So when you log in with your own username and passcode, sheer genius is going to say, "Hello, Jane. These are the 3 activities you're going to work on today." So the curriculum is set for you based on your previous performance. Also, remember that deliberate practice model. So sheer genius is going to set a mini goal for each of the cognitive exercises. And we have a really fun and exciting and motivational reward system. So if you reach one of your goals, then you earn a point, and the point goes into your reward system. And you can set up rewards that your child or your student, or even you yourself, can use your play attention points to purchase certain rewards. That always helps with motivation. And Sheer Genius will manage and track the rewards for you. We also very importantly, monitor your progress. So you're able to track and analyze your own progress at any time. So you have graphs, you have more data than you're going to know what to do with. But if at any point you look at this data and you think, I really want more information than raw data or graphs, then you reach out to your executive function coach and ask for a progress review. And we'll review your information here, send you a full report talking to you about progress and helping you set objectives. So as we go through this whole process, what will the outcomes be? And the outcomes will line up with our original discussion about your agenda. Why are you here? What outcomes do you want to get from this type of training? From that combination of what we know about neuroplasticity and NASA-inspired technology and cognitive training. You'll have increased attention, improved behavior. You'll be able to complete tasks in a more timely manner so that you're not starting a million things and finishing nothing. So at the end of the day, instead of just being exhausted and having nothing done, you'll have a list of accomplishments at the end of the day because you can actually stay on tasks. Your memory will be improved. You'll notice less impulsivity. You're more organized. Your relationships are better. You have less anxiety, improved productivity, better work performance, and success at school. So these are all of the outcomes that we typically see as you go through that process. And like I said, we've been doing this for over 25 years, and we have many clients who have posted their testimonials on our Facebook page and on our website. So you'll be able to actually see what some of our clients are saying as they move through this process. I put a few here, I procrastinate less and get more done. Play attention has given me the confidence that I need to live productively and to not only survive, but to thrive in a challenging work environment. That one is one of our newer clients who is a young adult, 27 years old, and he has just done so well. He's doing better at work. And he's even enrolled back at university, which is something he didn't think he could do. So remember, if you have a label like ADHD, that does not define you. You have the ability for such substantial growth, but we have to have specific program, specific challenge in order to spark that brain change. And that's what we can provide for you. Now, we have a couple of different options available for you. There is a home option and also a professional option. So the difference between the two is that the home system includes a user license for 2 people. That means at any one time, you can have 2 family members enrolled in the program. Now, if you have 3 or 4 family members, which is typical because we don't know what causes an attention difficulty, but does run in several families. So we have a lot of families who go through the program together. So the home system comes with a user license for 2 people, but you do have the ability to upgrade that user license. And the professional system comes with an unlimited user license. So no matter how many students you're working with or clients you're working with, you can enroll as many clients that you need to, and there's no relicensing fee. So you just continually enroll new clients as the years progress. So again, we mentioned before what you'll receive. This is everything that you will receive with your program: your body wave armband, your customized neurocognitive training program, the behavior shaping, a personal executive function coach, your 90-minute live training session with your coach as well, and a lifetime membership.